All right, Ken, why don't we get started here and let's get this training 3 session kicked off.
Very good. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning to our BidPak users out there. And for those of you that may be new to BidPak, great to have you here. Just provide a couple of opening comments here, and then we'll get right into the meat of today's session. I'll remind you guys that we've developed this very thorough program to help all BidPak users out there market, sell, design, install, commission EV charger projects, specifically at multifamily properties. We're trying to provide all the info and tools that you need to be successful in this area. That's the purpose of this whole program. Help you become proficient in the multifamily charger market quickly and provide you with some good know-how and strategies that will help you succeed. We got a wealth of information throughout this program. By the way, this is session 3. For any of you that may have missed sessions 1 and 2, we can provide you links for you to go back and take a look at those if perhaps you have not seen them already. But look, we're trying to give you guys a real competitive advantage out there. We think we've structured a great approach to this multifamily market, multifamily EV charging market. It's huge. It's growing very quickly. The opportunity is here, and it's right now. And so it's a perfect time for you guys to jump in. So third session, our final session of our training program. Previously, we have covered materials, why this is a good market, why it's the right time for property owners to really become engaged in EV charging projects. We've provided a very nice demo of how BidPak, specifically our BidPak software, can efficiently design and estimate your charger projects. And our last session, which was really cool, we introduced our whole concept of what we call scheduled charging and power sharing. And those are the features that will give you a competitive advantage over anyone else who's bidding jobs, anyone else you may come up against. Those two concepts of scheduled charging and power sharing provide the most cost-effective and efficient approach for any kind of design. So today, and by way of lead-in, we're going to cover several important topics. We're going to really go into some of the business aspects and showing you, providing you recommendations on how to structure your sales pitch, coming up with a problem statement and offering solutions. We're going to introduce you to various incentive programs. These will come up. There's a lot of federal, state, and even utility incentive programs out there, and multifamily property guys are probably going to want to ask about that. And by the way, we've got you covered. We don't expect you to memorize all of the various programs out there. We have a great database of them ourselves, and when those topics come up, you can always refer and call back on us, and we'll help you through all of that. So by way of quick introduction, I think a lot of you know Kevin Butcher is our Chief Product Officer, and BidPak is Kevin's creation. Kevin spent 25 years as a master electrician, and BidPak is largely the result of many of the, I'll call them issues and frustrations Kevin encountered over the years, trying to find better ways to do things, which culminated in, of course, this exceptional BidPak package that really provides incredible amounts of efficiency and time-saving tasks. He has a lot of EV experience, specifically. Kevin worked for ChargePoint for a while, and so therefore has a charger platform direct experience, and was heavily involved in multifamily property market segments. Our other team member joining us today, Janelle Knight, she's our Director of Operations, and Janelle takes care of so many things for us. Product support is probably key, and first and foremost on her list of things she likes to do, and it reflects in the exceptional service that we're able to provide folks out there. So all of our providers, I know, all of our subscribers, I know, are already very familiar with Janelle and all of her capabilities. Okay, so just quick introduction, and we're going to get into the meat of this now. We've got a really good set of topics to go over with you, and Kevin, I'll turn it back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. In this session, we're going to kind of go through some of the step-by-step processes of how you're going to be able to take the knowledge of the EV charging space, the scheduled charging, and the technical side of it. But now we're going to kind of walk through how to actually communicate with the property management companies, and then give you the tools and resources to do that. So in this, we're just going to step through that. So we're going to talk about how to actually sell EV charging projects. You know, your objective here is to introduce yourself, give yourself a guide, and get into the the multifamily property, and ultimately get an opportunity to give them a price for installing some EV chargers. The objective of this is to combine all the information that we've given before and effectively promote yourself and the charging program that we've put together. The BidPak approach is pretty cool. So we're here to assist you in your efforts. We'll provide suggestions throughout the entire process. We're going to provide some different materials, some different sales scripts, but really we're here to support you, and we're here to assist you, and we're here to help you grow this side of your business so that you can take the knowledge that we have, combined with the BidPak software, combined with our scheduled charging approach, and really go attack this marketplace. And I really think that is the secret to taking this part of the business and expanding your side of the business to that. So the sales process in this is quite simple. It's the same process that we do on a day-to-day basis. We contact a customer, we go tell them our value add, and we go tell them the strategy that we want to go to. We prepare a proposal we put together, and then we just go sell and execute the job. Same stuff we do when we meet with a residential customer, same things we do when we meet with a larger contractor. So it's the same process. But just a little bit different. We're going to be introducing yourself, your customer, or your company to these multifamily properties. And so one of the key things, it's a two-step kind of messaging approach. The first step, we've got to start with a problem statement. Explain why they should implement EV charging at their properties. Tell them, obviously we all know that the EV charging is coming, and we've been through all that stuff, and it's ready and that marketplace is growing, and these properties have to start adopting EV charging to stay relevant in their space. And then the second approach is just give them a solution. So give them a problem statement. Hey, you guys need to do this, and here's exactly how we're going to do it. And we're going to do it this way, and this is the best way because we've seen and we've studied so much. And so it's, some of the easy parts of this is identifying potential customers and the best point of contact. We're going to help you out with that. Determine the most effective initial approach, an email, walk right into the site, some different groups that we can participate in, just a couple of those things that really will help you, guide you into breaking into this multifamily marketplace.
And don't forget, an important part of that solution, guys, is your ability to sell yourself, the unique attributes of your company, your expertise, your qualifications, and of course, taking what our training session has provided you, showing them that you have the right solution to provide them an efficient and very low cost solution to their charging problems.
And additionally, there are already 12 states that have mandates in their building codes and other laws that these states have to require and adopt these. So it is not just they're going to get passed up. It's they have to do it by a certain time, if not already.
Yeah. And this program and this breaking into the multifamily opportunity is going to be for retrofit stuff. So we can get into existing buildings, but also we can show you how to go approach developers and be the go-to person that supplies and installs the EV chargers for new construction, because that kind of fits into a different category for the multifamily developers. So first, let's just talk about identifying potential customers and your initial outreach. So where do you find leads? Where do you find these customers at? First part of the EV charging program is BidPak has researched and gathered thousands and thousands and thousands of points of contact for multifamily properties across the U.S. So as you sign up and as you start moving into this, we're going to supply you with initial leads and initial points of contacts for you to follow up on. So you come to us and we say, okay, I'm going to attack this neighborhood and I want to market and canvas this neighborhood. We're going to give you as many points of contact as we can inside that neighborhood, including the property manager, the area manager for those properties, the owner of that property potentially. And, so that way you have the information to go get into there. And then you just start with your outreach. So you begin by some phone calls, just picking up the phone and saying, hey, what are you guys doing for EV charging? Some emails, some in-person visits, and be persistent. These the multifamily people are a little busy. They all know about it, but they're all at this point of they know that they need to do this, but they don't quite exactly know how yet. And so that's why that's why we wanted to really present the how to process behind this. And then before making that call, and do your homework. Make sure you're familiar with who you're talking to, the property size, the location, how many residents they have, just a couple of things, and then make sure we know about the incentive programs that are available in there. So just a little bit of backup research before you start making the outreach. But as soon as you start that outreach, it's email campaigns, it's phone calls. And if you spend the first 15, 20 minutes of your day every day and call 5 to 10 properties, you're going to start getting these leads, and you're going to start getting opportunities very quickly coming together. So then, with that, now BidPak and what we've done, and we put together what we think is some pretty good impact statements and some pretty good ways of introducing yourself, and some scripts and some different key points for you to actually get that door open and really be able to get that opportunity, that next step that we're trying to get for that site walk. As we know from a contractor, as soon as we get on site with a customer and be able to introduce ourselves, we have a much higher chance of closing that project than we do if we're just doing it over the phone. So there's a couple of specific sequences to the messaging that will maximize this initial outreach and this initial conversations and these key points that really are going to feed into your objective. And your objective in the initial outreach is to just get a scheduled visit and get on site, get to know them, get to know the property, get to feel their pain points, and then you can develop a tailored proposal for that solution and then provide that solution to them. And so it comes out, some of the examples are, stating the problem statement. EV charging is rapidly becoming a necessity in multifamily properties. To remain competitive and to meet residents' demands, as sales of electrical vehicles continue to accelerate, you have to act now or risk being left behind. A couple of those things are going to get these property managers to start acting and to start being ready to actually move forward with EV charging, and then knowing who to contact in their area to provide a solution is what we're trying to do, and we're trying to introduce you for. So then as we back up, and we won't get too deep into all the words of these sales scripts and these different things, because all of this information is going to be available for you, so you can craft this. And when it's time to reach out, then we'll be here to make sure that you can craft this correctly. But the next stage is we're just going to craft your sales message. And now we got the problem statement. So now here's the value statement, the solution. And one of the biggest keys to this whole program is that you're the electrical contractor, you're on site, you service that area, you can take care of that area. So the multifamily property, so you really have to go in there with the confidence that, hey, we know that we know that and can take care of their problems from the initial install to post sales. That's really critical for this place, because other business models are coming from a sales rep that's located maybe in out of state, and they're calling on these properties, and they're trying to sell this solution, and then they're trying to find an installer to come in and to do the work, but then they're out of state, and nobody knows exactly who's responsible for the actual installation and the maintenance of the stations, and the property management company really wants to know, who can I call and who can be on site within a half an hour, 2 hours if this thing doesn't work. So, we'll walk through a couple different examples of really setting yourself different from everybody else. And the uniqueness is this is being the actual electrical contractor who's going to do the work, who can sell the project, who can do the work, who can maintain the project, who can be there and do that. That really is going to give you a very massive competitive advantage inside of this space. And then combining that with this scheduled charging concept of being able to reduce the number of EV charging ports, reduce the number of software subscriptions that you have, which really reduces their capital expense. That combined with being the local electrical contractor, that just gives you such a massive competitive advantage inside of this space. And so here's a couple other just examples of some of the sales scripts and some of the value, some of the ways that we can craft your email campaigns or your sales scripts, or and train yourself to go walk into a door and start talking to property management companies. And then final step, all of this front introduction key point is really to get to the point where you can secure a site visit with a property manager, with the area manager, with anybody that's involved in that property. So as we talked about before, we really want to target the property manager. They're kind of the face of the property. We want to target maybe the area manager who oversees 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 properties, and they're kind of on top of that. And then we also want to make sure that facilities manager is there, the facilities operator is there. So those are the 3 key points of contact that are going to assist in making decisions for that property. And those are the people you want to build those relationships with. The facilities director is going to want your phone number so that he can call you if something's wrong with it. The property management company or the property manager needs to be able to sell, be able to know that you're there to support them. And so some of the key points of your introduction are emphasize the how crucial installing EV charging is to the property. Highlight the value of their brand. Hey, as soon as you guys get EV charging, you're going to attract more tenants, all that stuff, and those are all the value add stuff to that. And then showcase how there is a potential net operating income or NOI for the property. Inform them about any available grants and incentive programs, but ultimately promote yourself by illustrating your experience, your benefits, and how leveraging yourself will reduce the overall capital expense of this project. And then that's by the scheduled charging. So, and Ken, I'll let you kind of take this over on some of the logistics of the crucial site visit and beyond the data gathering. So we'll give you some templates on what to look for and what to deal with when you're on the site and how to go that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is intuitive, and you don't have to memorize this. We've got a lot of material to support and back up all of this and kind of provide some general instruction or a framework anyway for when you do make that site visit. Obviously, when you're out there and you want to assess what's going on, you need to understand what they're doing. By the way, one of the things that we think is a really good idea when you're talking with these folks is to suggest a phased implementation. If you've got a property that hasn't even started, but they know they've got to do something, a lot of them get intimidated by thinking, oh my God, I got to put in 20 charges, going to cost a couple of $100,000. How the heck are we going to do this? We think it's a great idea to go and say, calm down. And not in those words, but basically calm down. Well, let's get you set up with capability to start off with servicing 16 vehicles. And we can do that for between $10,000 and $15,000 and get it done in a week. And that's true based upon using our scheduled charging and power sharing model. But scope the project, and during the process of scoping the project, don't be afraid to throw out there that they can take this in stages and they can add on. Once you get your foot in the door with a couple of chargers, when they get more tenant demand, when more tenants move in and want more charging, you're the guy. You're there. You already did the first section, so you move right into phase 2. Of course, you want to get into some details. How many spots? How many parking spots are you considering here? And by the way, as Kevin was saying, the smaller number of chargers means the lesser number of parking spaces you need to dedicate. That's a big deal for these guys. They would rather not tie up 10, 15 parking spaces with EV charging if they don't need to do that. So identify where the charger location is going to be and make sure you mention to them that you only need a couple to provide some serious charging capability. The whole issue of scheduled charging and power sharing that provides you with the ability to provide a design, the most cost-effective design they are going to see. And I virtually guarantee that. And explain how this works, how we can support 16 vehicles with just 2 chargers. And they'll start to get that. And they'll start to say, wow, and tell me, I can get this done in a week for you. And then all the other stuff, understanding their timeline. Are you guys ready to go? Budget. We'll get into a little bit more budget later on when we talk about some of these incentive programs. My thought is this: with this low cost approach, and to get them started in this phased implementation concept, and convincing them for $10,000-$15,000 they can get going. A lot of these guys are not going to bother with incentives to cover off $10,000. For the most part, these guys can scrounge up $10,000-$15,000 from petty cash and get something implemented. The other nice thing that you can do out there, and it will impress the hell out of them, you've got your iPad with you. You've got the BidPak design capability right there with you. You can start laying out this design in front of them. You go to where they want to place parking, to the parking spaces where they want to place chargers. You start designing it out, and you can even give them a darn rough order of magnitude estimate right there on site. And I tell you, it's a very impressive thing to design it right in front of the customer and be prepared to give them an estimate before you even leave the site. Of course, the other thing that is important, we went through it in session 2, is to make sure these guys understand that installing chargers can actually provide incremental operating income for them. Incremental operating income. They're not going to lose money. They're not just covering costs, but they actually can make money doing this. And boy, you want to grab their attention. You bring that to the forefront.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks, Ken, for all that. And just so a couple of the things that we're here for support wise and to assist you with is, we all know that crafting a winning proposal is a little bit more of an art and a science to how to do this, to make sure that your proposal looks good and is easy to understand and easy to read and easy for you to pass the information on to the customer as well. So on top of the BidPak proposal that comes out of that, which as you guys know, if you're BidPak users, I love it. I think it's clean and great. And as Ken said, most of these jobs we can design and get that thing bid and done while we're still on site. As we're talking about, we're only adding 2 60-amp circuits to this to a house panel, and we're running 3/4-inch conduit out to 4 to 6 parking stalls. So most of that stuff can be done inside of a 10-15 minute design time with BidPak, and then your design is done, and then crafting a little bit of the proposal, an executive summary, some project description, a couple other things because that property manager that you submit that proposal to is now going to have to go submit that proposal over to their boss to get the approval to spend the money on it. So you want to just make sure that you kind of summarize up the executive summary part and the project description and put that together into a good clean package for them to present to their ownership group, so they can get the funds approved, so we can get these projects awarded quickly. So some of that stuff, it includes a clear statement of work, very clear statement of work, and then the software description. Part of the EV charging thing that nobody understands is that every charging port has to also have a software subscription to it. And so understanding how the software works and having some information on how the software works and being able to articulate that and show that over to the customers is crucial part of the proposal as well. And then obviously the price broken down into different sections of here's the conduit, here's what we need to do for the service, and here's the charging stations, and here's the overall package of that. And so that's just part of those proposals that if we the cleaner, the better proposal we present to the customer, the higher chance of that project getting awarded and getting approved quickly.
And don't forget, we talked about last time that we have a great software partner. We think it's the best software package out there, efficient, low cost, And when it comes time for you to talk about those software details, we and our partner will, of course, team up with you, and we'll get that message across.
Yeah. So the steps will be, you'll start doing the initial outreach and go out and start making contacts, and then schedule a couple site visits. Probably come back into BidPak and we'll discuss and we'll help you put your first proposal together so you can submit that. And then, then you're ready to go. We'll get to that template and that stuff ready to go. So then you can rinse and repeat this and build as many as we can possibly. And some of that other stuff that we need to put in there, the technical details on the charging station itself, the project schedule, how long is this going to take? What's the permitting process look like? What's follow-on support look like? And then what's some of your experience as a company? Some of that stuff we'll put together and be able to submit a full proposal package over to your customer. But once we get that template done, then it's just changing the design and changing the BidPak part of the design, and then you can rinse and repeat this very quickly and efficiently. And part of that as well is making sure that they know exactly how to get in touch with you and exactly what the how to accept that proposal and how to get that project awarded and installed. And as as Ken was even saying, a lot of the phased approach as an option is always good. Hey, start with 2 chargers. It costs you just very, very, very little. Let's get those chargers utilized and moving, and then move forward, and then reiterate the revenue models, and then reiterate that you can assist with any of the grant or rebate programming that's there. So, another key part of working with multifamily properties is they really have to have a vendor list. They like to make sure that their contractors are approved and they have the necessary insurances and that stuff to recommend. So ask if they have a vendor list and navigate how to get on that list and make sure that you, as a contractor, you're approved to work inside that space. Multifamily properties, the bigger one, the larger ones, they have some different, you're dealing with lots of people inside of one building. So they're very particular about who works on that building and who's authorized to work in that building. So once you get on that vendor list and once you get approved for that vendor list, then you'll do all the work inside that property. And anytime anything comes up, they'll be calling you to recognize that. So that's a part of the conversation to have with them to make sure that figure out how to get on that list and get approved for that, which will mostly at times is just submitting your insurance liabilities and just insert your contractor's license and your insurance documents, and then that will get you onto the vendor list. And then Ken, I'll let you take about how to close this deal and how to make sure we get that contract signed.
I don't think there's anything magic here, guys, in addition to what you normally might do for closing projects out. Make it simple. Make it your last step. Obviously, it should be a summation of everything that you presented to them and really highlight the key points of cost, effectiveness, the professionalism and capabilities of your team. And just kind of handle it like you might do any other kind of project. You've invested a lot of time in this and you put a lot of work into it, and just make sure all of those key points come across at the end. Sum it up. So it's a big summation.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as Ken said, you put a lot of time and effort into getting this proposal put together for them. So don't be afraid to follow up diligently and to ask for their business. Sometimes we feel like we're bothering people by asking too much hey, where are we at with that project? We're really interested in getting that done. And so don't be afraid to ask for their business as well. 90% of the time when they don't respond, it's simply because they have 1,000 other stuff going on and they just forgot about it. So don't feel like you're burdening them by calling them until you get a no out of that. Be like, hey, yeah, okay, so when should I follow up next? And just staying in touch with that, because what that also does, that builds the interest that you're truly interested in that project, and that will turn into a long-term relationship with that customer as well. As we talked about, incentive programs, every property, every jurisdiction, there's a lot of sales incentive programs out there. We have an extensive list of every single one of them. So whenever we start attacking a marketplace or attacking a neighborhood or a city or an area where we really want to start canvassing this out, we'll make sure that you have all the information on the incentive programs to really, so about it. How many ports is it? Is it through the utility company? Is it through a different grant program? What's available and how does it work and how's that go? So there's a lot of different moving parts to that, but it's pretty easy to figure out. Most incentive programs are going to a rebate program that will rebate money directly back to the property management company for the number of ports that were installed. But so as you come up to BidPak and say, okay, I'm ready to take this neighborhood and we'll give you these 20 properties, and these 20 properties all fit with this incentive program, and then that all becomes part of the sales process that can put together. And BidPak, as I was talking, BidPak will help you with the application process and make sure that information is there. And then, that's all part of your BidPak subscription, is that we can assist with that work. And the whole reason behind this is we really want you guys as electrical contractors to get successful in this space and be able to grow your business. And so we just thought of this as a massive opportunity for us to assist our contractors and our subscribers in expanding their business.
We present this because you're probably going to get asked about incentives but our hope is that you're able to get going with one of these opportunities with a phased-in approach, and the cost is so low they don't need to consider these. But again, you're going to have to be aware of them.
Yeah, and I'm just, there's federal incentives, there's state incentives, there's local utility incentives, and the incentive programs. There's tons of incentives out there. But a lot of times, as Ken was saying, if that price point is in that under $20,000 price range, the property is probably not going to. It doesn't want to invest their time and energy and to get $4,000, $6,000 back on that. That sometimes it just takes so long to do that, and then also that process can spread over a year. So you can introduce the program, you can go get the jobs installed, and then the property management company can work on the incentive programs after all that is done. So just kind of understanding that there are incentives out there, they're ready to go, and that you just have the confidence that you can handle them when they come up into place. And then obviously one of the biggest thing about EV charging right now, there's a lot of chargers that don't work out there, that have failed, that haven't been maintained correctly, that the software subscription has failed on it, somebody's cut a cord. So the post-sales process is just as important as the front sales process, being able to take care of and managing and being able to take that from the time that the sales happens through the installation, through the post-sales of it, and then through the maintenance and operations of that. And so, we'll give you some steps, and you guys are all very good at doing projects. So this isn't new workflow type stuff for you guys. But being able to sell the project and then be able to execute the project is also another huge competitive advantage from you being the contractor right on spot, because there's no handoff, there's no loss of communication inside of this process. So same thing, you'll have a project kickoff and pre-installation essentials, make sure that the contract is handled, make sure your material is all procured, and make sure that everything's in place. Installation and quality control, make sure that as you're installing and everything that your installers are installing what was sold, that kind of stuff and we'll make sure that walk you through all of that as well if you need assistance with that. But we just wanted to put this in there to kind of give you the tools to make sure that as in the sales process, you can articulate this to your customers as well, just to let them know that, hey, you're here at the beginning of it, you're here in the middle of it, and you're here at the end of this as well. And that just gives the property a lot of confidence in you as the contractor.
And I'll add one more thing to that, because ultimately there's a lot of people, as we've mentioned, in the multifamily space, a lot of stakeholders that want a clear vision of what's going to happen, what they're paying for, and what's going on. BidPak provides that without words. It gives them that visual representation, so that even if you're the sales guy and your installation crew are different, you have a clear plan and they get to see that up front.
Yeah, no, that's great. And, so with every project, there comes challenges, and there comes challenges with access. There comes challenges with everything. So here's just a couple of the common challenges that you're going to face inside of multifamily, and especially with the EV charging session of it. So permitting and permitting delays. Every authority, every jurisdiction at this point is coming up with different permitting processes. Some are still just an over-a-counter permit. Some jurisdictions are now requiring full plan review, and some are requiring full load calculation. So understanding the jurisdiction you're working in, and understanding the code requirements and the permitting requirements for that area. And that's also something we can do some back end research on as you guys reach out and say, I want to attack this neighborhood and this process. We can find out, well, this is the permitting process, and this is what you need to do, and this is how we get through the permitting delays. Electrical infrastructure. Most of these properties, with our scheduled charging approach and with our utilization approach, we're trying to not have to increase or upgrade the electrical infrastructure. It's obviously, if you have a bad panel, if we have a Zinsco panel, we have stuff like that that just needs some upgrades, we can do that. But we're going to try and do this without increasing the ampacity to that building. So we're going to find ways to find the power in that building, 30-day load studies, load calculations, to find and prove that we can utilize the power that's available to add the infrastructure for these EV chargers.
And that's
and schedule.
And that's one of the key contributors to providing a low cost proposal, in that you, in most cases, won't need to upgrade the electrical infrastructure, just adding a couple of breakers to an existing panel.
Yeah. Understanding the load calculations, and understanding how power sharing and power management and scheduled charging will allow us to utilize this 60 amp circuit to really feed. That 160 amp circuit can feed 8 vehicles. And so understanding that and doing that, we don't need to calculate for 8 60 amp circuits. We only need to calculate for 1 60 amp circuit. And so just understanding that and being able to utilize that is key. Material lead times. Most of the stuff that we're dealing with is off the shelf, available, but sometimes the chargers themselves might be delayed a little bit. But right now, everything is readily available. And then communication breakdowns. That's a key part. Making sure that the person that's in charge is the person that's talking to. All those different key points of that, and then success for this. Get one project done, and then being able to master this process, and being able to show how you do it over and over and over again, because there is no lack of availabilities, or there is no lack of potential properties, even inside of one city, inside of one neighborhood, inside of one area. There's hundreds of multifamily properties that all need EV charging in the next 5 years. They're going to need EV charging. And we really want to get you guys the opportunity to capitalize on that and own your marketplace, and own your neighborhood, and own the spot that you're trying to work in. And just communicate, and just getting into the process, and then being able to stay with that, and really being focused on that customer centric type thing, which most contractors do a really, really good job of that. Most of us are so focused on customer satisfaction. That's not new to the process of this. And just go do what you're doing on an everyday basis, but master this process so you can rinse and repeat it, so we can just get more and more opportunities coming through your door for you. The other part of this that is kind of cool is with the software we provided, we're going to actually be able to implement a maintenance program for you guys as well. So as a contractor, you're going to get the installation on the sales side of it, but then we're also going to be able to implement a maintenance and warranty program for that. And the maintenance program is really simple. It just allows it's a monthly subscription that the revenue will go right to the contractor on the monthly subscription, and that monthly subscription will just come right into you, and we can show you how the software works for that. But that allows for you to go sell this maintenance program for you and control those charging stations just to make sure that they're always operable. So you'll have some back end access to the software. So if any of your stations fail and they're offline, then you can get a notification. If something damages to those stations, you can get a notification, so you can monitor those stations as well. We're monitoring the stations at all times, as well as our software company is. So these stations will be, since they're online, and they'll be monitored constantly. So if they ever go offline, we'll know that they're offline, and that will give you an opportunity to go make a phone call and go figure out why they're offline, or if they get damaged. But and then that also, the maintenance program gives you a chance every 6 months just to go back to that property and go inspect the chargers, do a couple little quick routine inspections, make sure the breakers aren't overheating, make sure the conduit hasn't been damaged, that run over there, make sure none of the wires there, make sure that the stations are okay, and make sure that, that just nothing's happened that doesn't need repair. But then that also gives you the chance to be in that property again and meet with that property manager again. And that property manager, almost every time you're there, he's going to have something else for you to repair as well. Well, gosh, while you're here, why don't you go look at this receptacle that broke the other day? And, so you'll get an additional work order out of that as well. But yeah, so that's part of the software program that we have available. It is also a full maintenance charging program for you, which also is additional revenue stream for you and your company to benefit from. And so here you go. So yeah, the solution is a very comprehensive maintenance service. It's a routine inspections, corrective actions, preventative measures, and then performance verifications, just to make sure those stations are online and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and fully operable. And then so it walks you through inspecting the electrical system, charging station testing and utilization, parking area assessment. So just a couple of different things that are all part of that maintenance program and that management program. And some of the benefits that you can sell with that is to the property manager. This maximizes uptime. As soon as a charging station doesn't operate, it's the worst thing in the world, because now a driver is going to expect their vehicle to get charged, but that charging station doesn't work. And so the uptime is a very crucial metric that is monitored in these charging stations, and making sure that those, as you start installing more and more stations, you're going to have to, we want to make sure that your uptime is always there and ready to go. And then it also extends the lifespan of the equipment and safety and different liabilities. So really, it's just designed for the management and maintenance of those stations as well, and gives you recurring revenue as a contractor. So a guaranteed income stream, some long-term contracts, foundation of growth, and predictable scheduling. So now you get a scheduled site visit every 6 months with that property. A little bit more information on the maintenance program that's available. And yeah, so that's kind of that wraps up our phase 3 training. And so now the next steps that we ask you to do is start thinking about what neighborhood and what area you really want to attack, and then just send us a quick email over to info@bidpak.com, and just say, okay, I'm located in this area and I like this neighborhood, and I want to pull all of the property addresses from this neighborhood and the contact information so that I can start my initial outreach and my initial contact with them and my initial sales process to those things. And then as you get contacts with them, as you get site visits, then we'll watch and monitor your BidPak account. And then as you need a proposal, we're here to assist you with creating that proposal. And then we really want to start getting these charging stations installed as quickly as possible. So with that, I'll kind of turn it over to some Q&A type questions. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions about this charging program, and then and what's next in getting your business to take advantage of this opportunity and to grow your business.
And if nobody has questions that are coming to mind now, we recognize it was a lot of information. We are here. We will be able to send you out this training material for you to review. And the big piece of it is we do have, once you become a BidPak subscriber, which you get a 14-day trial, we can get you onboarded with the program. You're going to be able to use it for all things all things electrical. We're going to be able to streamline a lot of your daily operations you do now while you start to, sprinkle in some of this EV multifamily project work. And we're just going to help you win in business doing that. And so really getting comfortable with these scripts and things like that is something that will be provided for you, and marketing materials that if you want to plug and play and drop your logo on them, you'll be able to do that as well and send them out to them. So we really want to empower you with whatever kind of method that you need, whether you're boots on the ground or you've got a marketing team you can turn things over to, or maybe it's your customer service person who on the side wants to call around a couple other places when things are slow. You've got them on the clock. Why not have them start helping you win in this business?
Yeah, we're here to assist you, and we're here to help you grow your business in the multifamily EV charging space.
Well, thanks all you guys. And as I said earlier, if any of you haven't seen the previous sessions, let us know. We can provide you the link. Session 2 is a great one for you guys to watch, where we go over the whole concept of scheduled charging. And we talk about it. It may not make too much sense if you're just listening to it, but if you go back through the material and through our second training session, you'll see exactly what we're talking about and why it's such a clever concept for going after these customers. But thank you all for your time and your participation. Appreciate it. Reach out whenever.
Yes, thank you.